Hi everyone, this is Crystal and I'm back with week 17 in my 2020 Project Life album. You can see I already have my photos ready to go. I have a lot of them. I may end up taking out one or two of these just to make room for some more journaling and some more supplies. Speaking of supplies, I am using the same stash kit that I used for week 16, just because for one thing, I'd really like to get a lot more of it used up. And because when I chose the cards in this kit, I did have some of these photos specifically in mind as well. I did, however, find in my stash this from Simple Stories. It's Domestic Bliss. It's a snap pack. It's quite old. I don't know if they're, 2017. So a few years old. And I thought that a lot of these themes would go really well with this kind of time period, and the colors, or at least some of the colors, work well with the kit that I have. So I did grab this. I may dip into this as well. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, I'm just gonna put you on fast forward and get started. As usual, I'm gonna start by going through the cards that I have picked out as part of this little stash kit and figure out which ones I want to add to this page. So there were a lot in here that could have worked, and you can see I already took out one of the photos. I just felt like I needed more space to add journaling, so that photo will go into my Life Crafted album. It definitely won't get wasted. It will, that story will be told there. And I also was able to find that rainbow card, which that top photo is a photo of a rainbow, so I thought that was pretty appropriate, and which means I don't have a spot to journal there. So I added the numbered card to the bottom pocket, thinking that'll give me a chance to tell multiple stories in one card. That's one reason I really love the numbered journaling cards, because you can get a lot of stories into a small space and have them all separated, so it's not just like one long stream of consciousness journaling spot. Okay, I was testing out different title cards there. I really liked that blue one, but when I put the gray one down, it just made all of the black and white and the other gray on the page make a lot of sense. So I decided to use that one, and now I'm going to start going through the embellishments. So I have a lot of embellishments that are nearly finished. Like there are just a few pieces left, and I'm really trying to get a lot of them used up. So I'm going to plop a bunch of them down on this page and see which ones I can make work. Same with these stickers. There are actually quite a few left on this one, but I'd really like to get all of these things used up. They've been in my stash for quite a while, and it's time to just get them used. So I thought about using that sticker on the photo of the rainbow. I almost stuck it down. I'm really glad I didn't, because I end up doing something a little bit different, and I really like the way that it ends up looking. So I guess that is a lesson in waiting until you've gotten a bit more of a design idea in mind before actually sticking things down. Nothing is stuck down right now. All those chipboard pieces still have their sticky backing covered on the back. So yeah, haven't committed to anything. Okay, so I'm going through that die cut pack that was in the Simple Stories little pack there, but it just felt too cutesy for this page, so I don't end up using any of those. I'm just going to put them away and use them for another spread in the future. I'm also thinking about my title and what alphas I want to use, so I was looking through the ones I had kind of set aside for this kit. I will end up pulling out some different ones from my stash, just because I didn't feel like these really worked the way I wanted them to. But I'm going to find a couple labels to add to my page first. So I'm going through both of my little iris containers full of labels to find ones that work with the colors on this page. I found a pink one for my title card. I found another pink one that I'm going to end up using on the bottom right photo right there. I pulled out a yellow one because I knew I needed another instance of yellow on this page, but I don't end up using that. I actually end up grabbing something else instead to use there. And I think that is going to be just about it for labels. I do add another one in the end, but I do that off camera when I do my journaling. You'll see that in the close-up photos. Okay, so I went back into my stash and grabbed a couple other alphas. I grabbed this one, this Pink Fresh one with the purple on it, because that card that says currently obsessed is kind of a purpley color, and I don't have anything else that is actually that color, but I felt like maybe I needed to add some kind of additional purple to make it make sense. You'll see me try a couple different ways of doing that, and in the end I decide against it. But I will talk about that more towards the end of this video. So I decide to go with the gray alphas for my title just because there's a lot of gray on this page, and I felt like that made the most sense. But before I do that, I want to kind of Frankenstein this card. So I really like the card. It says currently obsessed with, and then I have a photo of the Bon Appetit YouTube channel. This is specifically the Gourmet Makes, which I have been binge watching. I've literally watched all of them as in quarantine, and I cannot get enough. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's so good. So I wanted to use this card, but the currently obsessed was centered on the card, and it had like a spot for you to write something, but I had a photo, so I'm just going to Frankenstein it. I cut off the top and moved it to the bottom, and then I'm using the photo to cover up the seam and adding it all to just a 3x4 scrap piece of paper, and you can't even tell that I cut up that card. It worked perfectly. So that's just a reminder to make your cards work for you. You don't have to use them just as they are. It's perfectly fine to chop them up and use them in a way that works for your story. Okay, so here's those gray alphas I decided to use for my title. They're just little puffy alphas from Pinkfish Studio. I'm going to add that to the top of that label so I can use the label to stamp my dates, and then I'm going to add that little chipboard piece just below it. And I think it says the struggle is part of the story or something like that, which I thought was pretty perfect for this week in particular. Yep, just like that. Just trying to make sure it's as centered as I can get it on that card. And then that's it. That's my very simple title page done. Okay, so two of the other pockets on this page are 4x6 but have 3x4 cards and photos in them. So I'm going to go ahead and add a index card behind them, do my normal trick of just gluing them down to an index card so that they don't flop around in that pocket. And then I can trim down this photo. I left a white border on it originally, but it was a little bit too big with the border to fit on this card, which is from Feed Your Craft. It's a Brandy Kincaid card from Feed Your Craft. And so I just got rid of that white border, and then it fits much better. And I just added a little chipboard half circle there, really just to give myself some place to add a little bit of embellishment and to bring in more of the yellow from that rainbow card. So I also grabbed these alphas from Feed Your Craft. They are a puffy tile alpha, and I love them. I have them in, I think, nearly every color that they offer. And I don't make you watch all this because it does take some time to place all these tiny letters, but I'm just spelling out working from home and adding it directly to this black and white photo of Jesse's temporary desk while he works from home during quarantine. And then I added a sticker from that Hip Kit Club sticker sheet that was yellow. It had his tiny little flowers on it, but you can hardly see those. And then that black and white chipboard piece as well, just to kind of give that title some place to sit. And then I'm going to end up repeating that kind of formula in a few other places around my page. So I'm adding the other two 3x4s onto another index card for that 4x6 pocket. And then I'm going to repeat that same kind of look. I'm going to add a little chipboard, add a label, glue that down, and then I'm going to use those same alphas to spell out a word on top of that label. So this one is going to say progress. It's a photo of a part of our home renovation that we actually completed this week. We've actually been getting a lot done. It's been taking a lot of time, but we're finally making some real progress. And this was kind of the beginning of that. So I snapped a photo of the drywall finally hung over our new pocket door, and I'm just going to spell out the word progress. I do have to kind of scooch them down to make them fit a bit better on that label, but I like the repetition of those alphas in another place on this page, and then I'm going to end up adding them in a third place as well. Okay, so they are a little bit fiddly, these tiny little alphas. I do have to kind of fuss with them a little bit, but they are so worth it. They just look so cool on the finished page. Okay, so thinking now I definitely need a third place to add those alphas. So I'm thinking of adding them here to this photo. Like I said, it's a photo of a rainbow in our backyard. I've scrapped a similar photo from the same day already. You may have seen that. And then the card says something about seeing rainbows looking up or something. I don't remember, but I spelled out keep looking up. So it kind of worked with the quote that was on that card. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the rest of these embellishments and see what else I can add here. And then I'm going to go away and do my journaling off camera. And then I'm going to come back and talk to you live and kind of walk you through the decisions that I made in these final steps of finishing this page. And I kept it very simple, and I wanted to kind of explain why that works here. So I'm adding a few little finishing touches, just a few little puffy hearts. I'll add some staples onto those. I take away that other chipboard piece. It just didn't really make sense. And then I'm going to try and add that purple color in a few places, but you'll see I end up taking it off in the end just because it just didn't work. And I'll explain to you when I come back here in just a moment why I made all of those decisions. So I'm going to go away and just handwrite my journaling in a couple spots. I do add a label in one place to add just a couple lines to that currently obsessed card. And then that's going to do it for this page. So in just a second, I'll be back to talk to you in real time. Okay, so I thought I would come back here in person and just talk about my decisions here a little bit. I've been sitting here trying to decide if this spread is done or not, and trying to figure out what else I could add to it if it's not done. And I think that I've decided that it's done, and I wanted to tell you why. So you know that I tend to operate in the rule of three kind of design theory when I'm working on these pages. I feel like that usually makes things look complete and cohesive and finished. So that is what I was looking at to see if this is really done or not, if it needs something else. And I wanted to share with you. So I have 3 instances of the black letters, and they make a triangle across the page. I also have 3 instances of these horizontal lines, right? So there is this chipboard and kind of washi tape. It's actually a sticker. Instance here, there's the line here on the title page, and there's the one here on this bottom photo. And again, they make a triangle on the page. Then I looked at color. So I have a good distribution of yellow across the page. I also have a good distribution of pink across the page. This is kind of the outlier color. It's kind of a purpley gray color. And I thought about trying to incorporate it elsewhere on the page, but I don't really have anything else that's this color. And I did try, I'm sure you saw, that I tried adding kind of a different color purple. There is some purple in this photo in a few other places on the page, but it just didn't look right. It stood out too much. It didn't blend in. It drew your attention away from the other elements of the page instead of making it feel cohesive. I also have 3 instances of these hearts, 3 instances of the staples. So I feel like it's balanced. I feel like it looks finished. Even though there's very little embellishing, there's very little that I actually did to the page, it still feels done to me, and I wanted to explain to you why that is. So I'm gonna call this one done. Yep, there are going to be some close-up photos coming up for you to see all the details. And yeah, thanks so much for watching.